Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Fandom Menace tonight for Monday, June 15th, 2020. It's 7:05 here on the West Coast, 10:05 over on the East Coast, and well, depending on where you are in the world, it's obviously a different time of day. But no matter the time of day, it means it's time for Fandom Menace tonight. So, folks, this has been a fun run, and we're going to continue that run. But I'm going to need some help from each and every one of you out there. Odd way to start the show, I know, but I'm going to be honest. Doing this show is fun. I love it. It's not about a time commitment, but we're going to have to move it over onto our secondary channel because, quite frankly, doing the live streams as frequently as we do, has really hurt the channel in terms of growth. And it's just something that we're going to have to do or fix by putting it over on our secondary channel. Now, what does that mean for you guys, the secondary channel? Absolutely nothing. Same format of the show, all sorts of stuff like that. But I'm going to need everyone that really wants the show to go over there and join that channel because, as I said, it does kind of hurt us over here, actually quite a bit. And it sucks. It sucks that YouTube has these policies where it's like, oh, if you live stream too much, it hurts you. If you do this one way, it hurts you. So that'll be over on the Good Morning Pop Culture World Class Bullshitters Archive channel. It's a monetized channel. We'll be able to do everything that we do over here. We might even offer membership tiers or something for bonus stuff. But if you guys could go over there and check it out, we will continue our show. And I'm shooting for the week after the 4th of July to start streaming it over there if there's enough interest. So I will be going away for a little bit to Ohio to visit my mom for her birthday. And I'll give you guys plenty of announcements all throughout the upcoming episodes, so we can find out where the show will go. I'll start putting the link in the description of every video, JPat. I realized actually it was something I was going to say on the High Council tomorrow, but I thought I would do it tonight so we can get it out of the way and there's no confusion moving forward. So let's see. What do we got in the chat? Let's hail our friend Cesaria Japan. We also have our friend Levon Media, 16-bit mascot, James Jackson. We have Dr. Coffin Nails. What's up, buddy? Cash Chester, how you doing? Alexander the Great, hello to Breadman Productions, as well as Juan R., Alex Ghost, Mark Santos, Zachary Deal, Travis Gray, Alexander the Great, as always. Who else we got? Action Figure Expert, D. Stutzman, as well as Ricardo Martinez, and our friend Darth Prime, and Kelvin Schubert, as well as CWD Trixie. So, hello, everybody. Oh, Batgoat. What's up, Batgoat? So, thank you, Cesario Japan, for putting that link in the chat. I appreciate you as a mod, as well as a fan of the channel. But yeah, folks, if we could just go over there and hit that subscribe button, and we'll be able to do more shows and not hurt the WCBS brand. So tonight, we're going to be talking about Miles Morales Spider-Man. I know, hold the booze. Hold the booze. Now, full transparency, up until last year, I hated the Miles Morales character. Currently, I just dislike him strongly. Now, what changed my hate from to dislike? Well, it's a positive change in the first part. But my issue with Miles Morales as a character is the same issue that I have with of a Kamala Khan or a Riri Williams or a Bucky or Sam Wilson as being Captain America. There are just characters that are iconic characters. Bruce Wayne is Batman. Clark Kent is Superman or Kal-El, depending on how far you want to take it back. But Peter Parker is Spider-Man. There are just certain characters that really don't lend themselves to multiple people carrying the mantle. The Black Panther makes sense because it's T'Chaka, then it gets moved on to T'Challa. But most of our stories that we read about are T'Challa, unless they're the World War II stories, then it's T'Chaka. Again, makes sense. I'm okay with that. But when they made Jane Foster Thor, wasn't cool with that. When they take any of our favorite iconic characters and put somebody else behind the mask, I instantly lose interest. Now, I wonder if part of that comes from a disconnect that I have, where I see, example, Power Rangers. The Power Rangers were the first example as a kid that I had, where I loved the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I thought it was the absolute greatest show in the world. Looking back, I'm sure, Power Rangers is one of the two kid shows that I kind of never really stopped going back to watch. For example, as soon as I found out that it hit Netflix, let's say every, 5 or 6 months, I'll go back and put on a couple episodes. Maybe I'll watch the Green Ranger saga or something. And then I'll still pick up like the Hasbro figures here and there. It's just part of me that I really never grew out of. But what I meant to say fully is once they switched to Zeo, I lost interest. I'm one of those people that once I like a certain version, I usually don't want other versions. Now, James Bond, I'm more than excited to get a new version of Bond away from Daniel Craig. But I was the same way about Pierce Brosnan leaving. Now, on the flip side of that, I did enjoy Christian Bale as Batman, and I did enjoy Ben Affleck as Batman. So when that switch happened, it really wasn't an issue. But when it comes to a character like a Miles Morales, when it comes to a character like the other Kamala Khan, I feel like Marvel is just pushing it too hard. And I want to give a shout out to one of our listeners in our Facebook group. His name is Daniel. I'm not going to give any more information because I don't want to make you uncomfortable or accidentally dox you. But Daniel brought up an excellent point, and that is why tonight's show is going to be titled what it is, because it's Daniel that actually made me think. Because I'm off working on The Last of Us 2. We have a video coming out about The Last of Us 2, probably tomorrow afternoon, definitely before the launch of the game. I'm deep into the production where it's almost done. Mad Mardigan, hey, what's up to you as well? By the way, I did get your email from Jesse. I just got to respond back to it. But thank you for the service and everything. And thank you for your patience. But I will get back to you. It's just going to take me a minute because we got some stuff going on here at the house, a.k.a. books, trying to sign them all and get them shipped out and taken care of. So I thank you, man. But but I look at the Miles Morales character, and for me, it has nothing to do with the race. It has nothing to do with anything besides you're forcing a character on us. I'm trying to think of another good example of any fictional character that gets forced down your throat. Fine, we'll use John Cena as an example. I like John Cena as a person. The fact that there was a wrestler that died about a month ago, his name was Shad Gaspard. He died trying to save his son. They were swimming down in was it Huntington Beach? They were swimming off the shore of California, completely fine within the rules of whatever. They got caught in a riptide. The lifeguard came out. Shad goes, "Hey, save my son. Don't worry about me." They save the kid. The dad dies. It's a sad story. And then a couple days later, they're doing a crowdfunding for the kids' college funds, which definitely noble, something I can get behind. And all of a sudden, it ended because it had reached its goal, and this person named like CRC donated. And then people dug a little deeper, and it turns out CRC was an acronym for a tag team that Cena teamed up with these other guys, one of them that had passed away. And it turns out John Cena donated the money. So as a guy, he's a great person. I'm behind everything he does in a positive way. But as a wrestler, he can suck a dick. He is trash. That dude has been the absolute bane of my existence in terms of wrestling. You want to talk about predictability? Folks, if you think anything Disney does is predictable, wait till you watch Cena kicks out at 2, lol, okay? The guy is, just predictable at best. But it's the same thing. It's the John Cena, it's the Roman Reigns. It's these examples of companies getting something that's popular, or sometimes it's not popular, and they force it down your throat until you accept it, and you become tired of it. That's what I'm tired of. You get these characters. I don't even have a great term for them. Excuse the race car outside. But I don't even have a proper term for them. Can I call them the SJW characters? Sure, I could. But again, I always challenge myself to come up with a new word instead of SJW. But I looked at the Miles Morales stuff in the game trailer, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But the reason I'm opposed to Miles Morales and Kamala Khan isn't because of their skin color. It's because of the ideology behind the characters. First off, Ethan has a great point about the reason they push these new versions of legacy characters is because the people that are in charge get a kickback of merchandise. So what is her name? Sana Amanat or something, I believe, is touching or tangentially involved with Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. So that's why she's the secret main character of this new video game. That's why our action figure is being forced down our throats. The funny thing is, folks, and this is hard to hear, but it's a little bit of reality. A lot of the women characters don't sell as well in action figure form as some of the men. Now, there's obviously exceptions to every rule. Rogue is one of the most expensive Marvel Legends figures out there. Why? Well, because she came out at a time when people didn't know all of the X-Men were coming out. But now she's in high demand. Same with Storm. Storm's so popular, within the span of a couple weeks, they released white costume Storm and black costume Storm. And I guarantee you, by the end of the year, there will be a silver costume Storm. So it all is character dependent. But overall, the new progressive SJW, whatever characters you want to call them, they don't sell for shit. That is why I can find we had Captain Marvel toys just hanging on the shelves before I moved. And as soon as I go back to Ohio at the end of the month, I'm going to be back on the hunt looking for some action figure footage for you guys. But we have Squirrel Girl. We had all of the Forces of Destiny, or whatever they're called on the Marvel side, Marvel Rising. All of those dolls that just sat out, the America Chavez, the things that don't sell. All of these characters that are being forced down our throat. And it really is old versus new Marvel, because I never once thought to myself, Spider-Man's old hat, he needs to be reinvented. As a fan, I went, what is this next adventure in this guy's life? And I was into it. But now we have Spider-Punk, Spider-Pig, which we've had Spider-Ham for a while. Spider-Pig from The Simpsons, excuse me. But we get all these different versions, and I lose interest. And Miles Morales seems to be the most, I don't even want to call him the most popular, seems to be the most promoted of the offshoot Spider characters. Now, when I was playing the Spider-Man game on the PlayStation 4 2 years ago, which is still, in my opinion, the greatest Spider-Man game ever made, I was so invested in the game. I was emotionally invested in the game. I couldn't stop playing it. It's, after Good Morning Pop Culture, when we had that really great string for 4 months, after I did the show, what did I do? Unless I had eaten before the show, I'd grab a bite to eat, and then I'd turn on Spider-Man for an hour or two, to just kind of reset my brain. So the one thing I didn't like about that game was the introduction of the forced Miles Morales segments. I didn't really I don't care about him. I didn't care about his family. I didn't care about stopping the fun action to run around on the streets. And when I played that game, I had this undercurrent of dread when I would play it, because I knew that they were going to try to force this Miles Morales thing down our throats. Now, it's funny. I've never seen a company that has an iconic figurehead like a Spider-Man be so forcefully removed from prominence because of reasons. Now, the main reason I think it is because of Sony. I know that Marvel gets all the Spider-Man licensing money. They get the royalties for the merchandise and X, Y, and Z. But at the same time, there has to be a portion of them that is reticent to promote Spider-Man because he's still part of enemy property, which I think is dumb, because you have so many just great things with Spider-Man. Obviously he's the face of your brand. He's your Mickey Mouse. Hell, at this point in time, I would even argue that Spider-Man is more recognizable than Mickey Mouse. In my lifetime, Mickey Mouse has always been just like, oh, it's the face of Disney. But nobody really wanted Mickey Mouse stuff. Nobody really did Mickey Mouse themed things. If you were really young and maybe a girl, you liked The Little Mermaid. Or you were a guy and you liked Aladdin or Lion King. You had all these other great Disney movies come out, but none of them featured Mickey Mouse, maybe Fantasia 2000. But then we move forward, and he is and you think of Disney characters, it's Spider-Man, technically, and Iron Man, and the Star Wars crew, and all these other characters, and Mickey Mouse has been kind of pushed out to the side. But Spider-Man has just been the face of Marvel since the 60s, and no one has ever once thought, it's time for him to hang it up. Let's bring in essentially the same character with a new skin color just so we can sell action figures. I don't know. Like, I'm looking right here. I have a thing popped up on the TV. It's called Marvel Superhero Adventures. I was scrolling through something, and it is a 16:9 image, so it's that ratio, like the size of your screen. And in the middle of it is Spider-Man, and on the left hand is old school Marvel characters. On the right hand side is newer characters like Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales, and Kamala Khan. And Spider-Man is that barrier, that binder that brings old Marvel and new Marvel together. But again, they're kind of pushing him out. So this past week, we had a big PlayStation 5 reveal, and I'll be talking about PlayStation 5 stuff until the cows come home, because I actually made the decision, tentatively speaking, that I'm going to ship out my PS4 and I'm going to buy a new Xbox, and the PS5 can wait. Because 1, the system's ugly, 2, the games aren't promising, and 3, I don't like Miles Morales Spider-Man enough to even buy this little offshoot of a game. So that's how I'm voting with my wallet, folks. People say, oh, shut up and vote with your wallet. Guess what? I'll speak my piece because I have that right. And 2, I will vote with my wallet. I'm going to pass on this game. I'm going to pass on the PS5 until I see something of Peter Parker, of something I like. And I notice the thought I had when I saw this trailer wasn't, oh, boo, Miles Morales, oh, a black Latino character, whatever he's mixed up. I wonder what the reason behind this was. And the first thing I did is I jumped to the comments section to read IGN's, the battleground that is IGN. Obviously, you have the same people that rip on us for not liking The Last Jedi. Oh, clearly you're racist and sexist. First off, no. See, I'm in that weird category where anytime I voice my displeasure about, I don't know, a black character, and people say, oh, you're racist, I go, against what? And then they find out who I am and they shut up, which is nice. But I'm interested in the culture war, the battle between us, because you can dislike Miles Morales until the cows come home and not dislike, it's nothing to do with the skin color. It's the forced ideology. It's the reasoning why the character exists. And like I said, from a personal standpoint, somebody who loves the character of Spider-Man, who is, wants to draw comics and stuff because of the impact the character's had, I look at this and I just kind of sigh. And it's weird too, because it's not like Miles Morales is so popular that nobody wants Peter Parker. I mean, if that was the case, why is Into the Spider-Verse the lowest performing Spider-Man film ever? And the Tom Holland Spider-Man Far From Home, which features Peter Parker, is the first $1 billion grossing Spider-Man film. Even though I don't like that movie and it pains me to say it, Peter Parker character is just far more popular. He always will be. The thing is, Marvel is doing this for no reason whatsoever, and they're coming in late. I mean, Marvel Comics proper started in 1961 with Fantastic Four #1. That's when the imprint Marvel Comics is considered to be Marvel Comics. Before that, they're timely. And in that time, you've had all kinds of classic Marvel characters. And in a very short period of time, you've also had a concerted effort to remove those characters from prominence. The only time it's ever kind of worked was with the X-Men a few years ago when Fox was off making their stuff and Marvel Studios didn't want to promote the enemy. So they kind of moved their books. They didn't really cancel X-Men books, but they kind of canceled a good portion of them. They canceled the Fantastic Four, and they just didn't make merchandise based off the characters. Now that they got everything worked out with movie rights, or at least they were in the direction of it back when they made the switch, they started bringing back X-Men and the Fantastic Four into the marketing, and X-Men figures sell more than you can possibly imagine. The reason a Kamala Khan figure can exist and a company like Hasbro can take a loss is because you'll sell 500 of the different Wolverine variants to a guy like me who's got Wolverine in the yellow suit, Wolverine in the brown suit, Wolverine with the ripped head, Wolverine with the cowboy hat, Wolverine is an old man, Wolverine missing a hand. You'll have those kind of characters will subsidize the Marvel experiment, if you will. I want to introduce these new versions of characters that aren't that popular because their books aren't doing it, and their toys aren't doing it, and their movies aren't doing it. So I wonder why they're doing it, and we know the answer. Like I told you guys, modern Marvel isn't really an entertainment brand. It's a lifestyle brand. And as somebody who has a free year to Disney Plus, going back and looking at all the new Marvel things, it's a waste of time. I can't say it enough. Skip every new Marvel piece of animation. The furthest I would recommend, and can honestly recommend, I would say go back and watch Earth's Mightiest Heroes and the Spectacular Spider-Man. Can't speak. That's it. Other than that, don't watch Marvel cartoons anymore. And you're thinking, well, Jeff, maybe, what if I don't care about the SJW politics? That's fine. I'm not talking about SJW politics. They're just shit. The animation shit. The stories are shit. They're just not what they could be. So with the Miles Morales game, I was not impressed. It was a nothing trailer. It was a couple screenshots. It was a couple stills, X, Y, and Z, and now here we are. Thankfully, enough people pushed back, and then some official word came out that said it wasn't a full game. This isn't the direction. This isn't the replacement for Spider-Man 2, which Spider-Man on the PS4 is one of the highest selling games of the console, or on the console, excuse me. It had its own exclusive release with a pack-in. It sold tons of copies. I bought the DLC. It's the only game I've 100%ed every aspect of. So it's nice, though, that I saw other people voice the same concerns I have. Now, if they all had the same platform, then maybe we could all make a change quicker. But Marvel's going to keep walking down this path. That is why that is why people think this James Bond codename theory thing's cool, because you can make anyone James Bond 007. It's not a fucking costume. It's not a mantle. He's a person. My name is Jeff Hicks. Nobody can just come up and say, I'm the next Jeff Hicks. What does that actually mean? You can't just take my spot. What are you, a body snatcher? I'm not going to fucking lay down and let you do that shit. These characters that I wish Marvel would understand, these aren't just the name. It's not just Spider-Man. It's Peter Parker. It's his family. It's his social circle. It's all these other things why we buy into the characters that we buy into. I've tried to read Miles Morales stuff. Tried is the operative word there. Now, when it comes to Into the Spider-Verse, and I talked at the beginning of the show about softening my stance, I thought The Spider-Verse was a very good film. Very good film. Did I dislike Miles Morales in the film? No. But I also didn't think he was the best part of the film. Again, I'm watching for Peter Parker. That is why Peter Parker's in this film. If Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen and all these other offshoot characters were so damn popular, they wouldn't need to hide behind the bigger name. They wouldn't need the Adventures video game to feature Kamala Khan to get people to care about her. They would just say, Kamala Khan, the video game, now available on Game Boy Advance. And that's about as well as it would sell, because that's the kind of system that, people would buy the game for them. And so real quick, just to qualify what I had said earlier, Into the Spider-Verse had a budget of $90 million, and it brought in $375 million. Now, that is not me ripping on it. That is not it's not indicative of the quality of the film, but it is a true statement that the Spider-Man franchise has never seen a lower grossing film. You can shit on Spider-Man 3 all you want, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and The Amazing Spider-Man 1. But just going strictly off of the box office, Into the Spider-Verse is down at the bottom. The only thing that Into the Spider-Verse outgrossed at the box office was the Spider-Man Men in Black 2 re-release of September 2002. So let me pull the numbers up to show everybody that I'm not, just trying to bullshit you. Here you go, right here. And you can see that's the case. Into the Spider-Verse, right here. For the highest grossing film is Far From Home. Then it goes Spider-Man 3, Homecoming, Venom, Spider-Man 1 and 2, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and then Into the Spider-Verse. And like I said, it's not indicative of the quality, but it is indicative of the popularity of said character, because Into the Spider-Verse featured the Miles Morales character heavily, featured prominently in all of the trailers, the posters, and all that stuff. And that's fine. He's the main character. But he also isn't what people associate with Spider-Man. When you think Spider-Man, you think Peter Parker. Now, if somebody argues, well, Jeff, what about somebody that grew up with Ben Reilly as their Spider-Man? I'd say, listen, well-intentioned true believer, you're wrong. And why would I say it that way? Well, first off, Ben Reilly and the Clone Saga was such a small fraction of the 90s Spider-Man. So basically, you have to be the age of me to grow up with Ben Reilly. So I knew what was going on back then. Maybe in the comics for a few short years, you had Ben Reilly Spider-Man. That's cool, but at the same time, you also had Spider-Man the Animated Series, Peter Parker. Every video game, Peter Parker. Movies eventually, Peter Parker. Ben Reilly was no one's Spider-Man growing up. No one's. The only time he ever appeared in anything was maybe his appearance in the Spider-Verse episode. It's not even Spider-Verse, excuse me. The multiverse episode at the end of the Spider-Man Animated Series. They show him briefly. He's really not a character anywhere. Everyone that really grew up with Spider-Man grew up with the main one. And I know I talk about this one every time it pops up, but I'm passionate about it. It's something I care about. And every time I see the argument, we've had enough Peter Parker, it's time for this. Look, at any time anyone in entertainment says, it's enough of this, it's time for this, I say bullshit. Because if stuff is selling, if stuff is doing well, people care about it. It's not time to move on to something else. It's time to make it better. That'd be like, well, Spider-Man broke every box office record back in 2002. Let's move on to something else. No, you make it better, and then you produce Spider-Man 2, the greatest superhero film ever made. I wish that was the same thought process a lot of people had. It just isn't the case anymore. So let me see what the audience is saying. We have almost 560 people watching, so do me a favor, folks. Hit that thumbs up button to let me know that you guys are enjoying this stream. I don't know if they're going to kill Peter Parker in the next game, but all I'm going to say is it's not going to be pretty. I say they kill him off in at the end of it. My guess is they make him Venom or some shit. He becomes the symbiote. Miles has to kill him off. Peter sacrifices himself instead, and he gets to die a noble hero. And we're supposed to be so moved and emotionally touched that Peter Parker has given the mantle to Miles Morales, and I'm just not going to buy that fucking game. Now, as much as I went on about how much I loved the Spider-Man game from 2018, I didn't even get it till Christmas 2018 because I wanted to make sure that you weren't secretly Miles Morales in the game and you weren't stuck wearing that terrible costume. I know, weird thing, but that's the kind of stuff I care about. So first off, we had a super chat from our friend Beth. Thank you very much, Beth. She says, hey, Jeff, stay awesome. Beth, I will. Thank you very much. They take a big drink of something. But thank you, Beth. Thank you for everything. And I agree. Miles lacks any character to stand on his own. Darth Tico, what's up to you, buddy? We also have our friend Obi-Wan 2783. He said, where'd you go, Obi-Wan? Crap. Hold on. I got to pull up the other window. Give me a second, folks. Talk amongst yourself. The topic is European cheeses. Which is your favorite? I have a favorite, but I'll never tell. So let's see. How do I get to that window real quick? Like I said, folks, I apologize. It's I gotta get my shit together. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, there we go. Live window. And we're off. I would love if YouTube didn't change their policies every week. But hey, it wouldn't make things right for creators, would it? So, first off, Obi-Wan. Thank you very much, Obi-Wan. He said, I'm okay with Terry McGinnis being Batman. See, to me, that's a different thing, though. Because in the story of Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis was Batman, and then that's it. They didn't all of a sudden make Terry McGinnis movies. They didn't all of a sudden try to take away Bruce Wayne. They acknowledged this is the future of Batman where Bruce Wayne's too old. This wasn't a let's just wipe away Bruce Wayne thing. I was okay for a minute when Dick Grayson took over for Batman while he was like zapped by the Omega beams of Darkseid and sent back into the past and had to work his way back to the future. That was fine. It was a small temporary thing. And when Bruce Wayne came back, Batman came back. I mean, was it Batman International or Batman Incorporated or whatever the book title was? Either way, he came back and it was over and done with. And every reiteration of Batman doesn't feel like, oh, we're trying to bump off Bruce Wayne. It's who's the next Bruce Wayne? Who's the next Batman? They go hand in hand. Now with Marvel, they've got their audience conditioned through, what's the thing? Well, conditioning would be the right word. They just flat out do not care. They're just like, oh, it's Spider-Man. And you're always waiting for them to drop the other shoe and say, but it's not the real Spider-Man. So that's why I'm okay with Terry McGinnis. It's not even hypocritical because Miguel O'Hara Spider-Man, if you wanted to make stories like Into the Spider-Verse, I believe they showed it in the trailer. If you want to make Miguel O'Hara Spider-Man films, okay, fine, because they're far in the future, and I'm okay with that. But if you try to bring them to modern-day New York and kill off Peter Parker, and that's going to be our Spider-Man moving forward, just not going to do it. 007 Cloud, thank you very much. He says, F Miles. It's a strong statement, but I'm kind of inclined to agree if it means we get less and less of him. I just don't like him. Nothing personal. It's just what he represents. Studios, companies coming in, taking away shit that's perfectly good, that we all like, that is very successful, and they just kind of say, if you don't like it, you're a racist, and then they move on. That kind of shit is not cool with me. Logan Michael Anti-Funko Pop, San Diego Comic-Con exclusives are being revealed tomorrow morning. Hasbro teased a Deadpool exclusive. Why? Because we haven't seen a Deadpool figure in a week. I agree that it's been too long since we've had a great Deadpool figure, aka last week with Pirate Deadpool. I heard a rumor that it's supposed to be a talking Deadpool head, which seems dumb to me, Logan Michael. If they do the big reveal and we got a bunch of different figures and stuff, awesome. I'm excited. I did pre-order my Mezco Superman. I'm on board with all that stuff. But at the same time, I'm also very opposed to a talking Deadpool head. If you want it, go buy it. Anybody out there that wants it, go have at it. It just seems like a dumb thing because the shit I want Deadpool to say, a licensed Hasbro toy is not. Unless it's Ryan Reynolds dropping F-bombs or something like that. What am I going to get a kick out of a talking Deadpool face? Well, Logan Michael, what are some of the things you want from Comic-Con? I'm hoping we get a couple cool hot toy reveals, and maybe we get some NECA figures that we don't expect. Still I'm holding out for that Beverly Hills Cop. Maybe we'll get a Riggs and Murtaugh 2-pack. Now, I see a lot of people talking about the well, hold on, I'll read a couple more of these because we only have a few, and then we'll get back to the show. 007 Cloud says, I'll play BLM Spidey if it means Peter is helping Miles' mom through a tough time. I just don't get why Marvel's pushing for it, because Spider-Man has all of their characters have always appealed to everybody of every race. I'm so tired of the you have to be black and you can only like black characters type of mentality. Look at my friend Dion. Dion's my best buddy. He does love Spawn. That's one of his favorite characters who happens to be black. But he also loves Daredevil, who's as white as they come. He's got red hair. I mean, that's not even a qualifier, but that's the point I'm making. But we have just it doesn't matter what color you are. It's what you like. And I think it does a disservice to the consumer when they treat us this stupid. Like we can't function. It's like they think we're some kind of I don't know, single-celled organism, and we only like what we recognize that looks like us. And that's not the case. I've watched countless. I like the show Parks and Rec now, almost through the whole series. I think Leslie Knope is a funny character. I look nothing like Amy Poehler. I look nothing like any of the people on the show, but I think they're all great and interesting characters, and that's the kind of stuff I can get behind. I don't watch Parks and Rec and go, well, they got an Indian guy, and they got a black lady, and they got this person, and this gay person. No, I look at it as a show with great characters, and it doesn't matter what they look like. They're just fun, engaging characters. And Marvel lost that a long time ago. I think society lost that a long time ago. It used to be great characters came in all shapes and sizes, had different backgrounds, and that's what made them interesting. But now we put, but they were human first. That was the thing we all agreed. We all liked. Maybe Tony Stark has got this and that and all these billions of dollars, but it is Hardy still a person. He still has an emotional attachment to his mom, and even though he doesn't like to say it, his father, and he still has those desires, and he has a child and all this stuff. He's a normal, realistic, fleshed out person. And those are the things that we can all identify with. This all make us one, similar with the character. Marvel and modern day approaches, we take what makes everyone different and we put that here, and we make that the quantifier, the selling point, the thing that's going to get you to go out and buy tickets. Like, I'm not going to buy a Squirrel Girl action figure because she's chunky and has buck teeth. I'm also not going to buy her because she's a dumbass character. Same goes with Miles Spider-Man. If I want Spider-Man, I'm going to drop my money on the real Spider-Man. And the funny thing is, too, when you look at what they make on the shelves, Miles Spider-Man's featured every 1 out of 5 things may have him, not even that. But almost everything's going to just be solely Peter Parker, no matter how much they change his costume. Even Disney themselves, they want to promote all this change. Why didn't you do this? You look at Miles Morales did not exist prior to the Disney buyout. Why didn't they do this back then? Why didn't they make him because they want the money and they know where the money is. All of this shit, like all the companies last week, was a hollow attempt to look good during a certain time, and then they'll go back to the way they've always operated. So if you look at that and you go, that's not a big deal, fine. But then they should also just operate like that all the time. You only believe what you believe. You should believe what you believe 100% of the time, not only when it's cool or trendy or going to make you some extra dollars. Timothy Rose, thank you very much. He says, I'm getting tired of Spider-Man and Batman games. Can we just get a Superman beat-em-up game? That would be awesome. Timothy, I would definitely play a Superman game. The only problem I have and concern is Superman's pretty much invincible. What is going to be the game's conceit? Is it going to be one of those situations where he's super depowered and he has to come up and gain his powers? Because that feels a little hokey. I don't know. Superman's a weird character because he can almost be written out completely just because he's impervious to everything. Now, a video game, people talk about video game stories and how they want what am I trying to say? How they want these complex, realistic stories. But the thing is, they never really adapt the complex and realistic side of Superman. I was reading a Superman story about world hunger the other day, and that was really engaging. That, to me, had a lot going on. It just was about Superman at Christmas time, and it was an Alex Ross issue. But he comes down, he brings the tree, he sees some girl that gets trampled by a crowd, finds out she's hungry, he starts thinking about world hunger, he goes to the government and talks to them and asks them, can we do stuff? Can I take grain across the world? And the story is about Superman going around the world and doing stuff like that. I think Superman lends himself to those kinds of stories on film very well, but we just keep jumping back into let's fight, okay? And then we don't ever get that right balance. When it comes to the game, for as much as I love the iconic look of Superman and the movies, well, some of them, and a good chunk of the books, it's gotta be like Superman fighting giant robots or aliens or some shit, because you just can't have him fight thugs and henchmen with kryptonite weapons. That's stupid. That gets to a point where it's like if every agent was a Hydra agent and had Hydra weaponry, it's like, after a while, it's like, how do you get all of that spread across the world and stuff like that? I mean, even Lex Luthor funding that would be a little insane. So while I do like the sentiment, I personally would rather have games with all the characters. Spider-Man games, Batman games. I wouldn't mind a fun Batman beat 'em up. Not everything has to be Arkham Knight or Arkham City over and over again. It's got to be something. So I'm looking forward to a change. Justin Smith, thank you very much. He says, have you seen the KFC console coming out? Looks promising. Are you talking about the bucket that is the PlayStation 5? Because that's the only thing I can use to describe it is a bucket or something. It's a receptacle to hold something, because that's not a good looking game console. If you like it, more power to you. Thumbs up. Not here to knock on your taste, but man, God, is that an ugly system. I can't think of a grosser video game console in terms of just appearance. But I'll have to check it out. Justin, thank you very much. Jacob Kaiju says MCU Spider-Man is Iron Man Jr. Yep. I have been saying that for years. That's why I don't love him. People are like, but Jeff, he's all hallmarks of Spider-Man. Except the power, the responsibility, the foundation of who he is as a character. Now, Christina Nardone, thank you very much. She says, as much as I hated Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, at least Peter Parker was included instead of Miles Morales. Now, I completely skipped on that game because that was during that period of no X characters in their content. So my team is Cable, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. And if it's Marvel vs. Capcom 3, it's Spider-Man, Deadpool, Wolverine. So they took away my character. They'd buy it. But that goes to just show like how people identify with the character, not the other version. That's like I said, that's why in the MCU it's Peter Parker, and moving forward it'll be Peter Parker until this grand experiment stops. Because Disney's not going to go out of business anytime soon. But what's going to happen is Marvel's going to stop publishing books because eventually no one's going to buy them. I mean, it's just down on the decline. So that's a positive to the game, Christina. But at the end of the day, the excising of some of my favorite X-Men characters just was too much for me to actually give it my money. Silverman says, as a black man, I say keep Spider-Man white. I'm with you, Silverman. As somebody who is in between both races and a little bit more, I don't like changing Spider-Man at all. And then people are like, well, what about, the representation of this character? There are tons of characters, folks. Just pick one else. Or Marvel, pick somebody else. Leave Spider-Man alone. He's your most popular character for a reason. Don't ruin it, because you can ruin it. Look at the Fantastic Four, folks. They ruined the Fantastic Four. That's why when I click on Fantastic Four on Disney Plus, instead of some epic image from a great cartoon, I get a cartoon with unfinished artwork. Mr. Fantastic doesn't even have the logo painted on. That's how little that brand was cared for a long time, even up until today. So, our friend Josh Leek says, why can't they just make a co-op game? Or could you swap between Peter and Miles and different kinds of abilities and fighting styles between them? See, that's a compromise I'd be willing to make. Let me choose. Let the consumer choose. And maybe you have some kind of thing where the people that make the game, when they, you download a patch, they're able to see who you play more as. Maybe that would put them, shut them up indefinitely. I think the reason why they keep pushing this, though, studios and other developers, isn't because they look at the sales figures and go, well, the Spider-Man brand is so strong it can do anything. It's Marvel and Disney, and it's like, we want this. That's why I bet you this Miles Morales game has a much smaller budget than Spider-Man for PS4. First off, they don't need to create new technology. They just need to up the power of the visuals and basically drop in what's already crafted. So this is going to be a very thin, mild, minor upgrade, if anything at all. And I say, in 2 years, we see the new Spider-Man game. He's got an even uglier costume, but it'll be Peter Parker for the time being. But I would like to see the character honestly just get killed off indefinitely. There's no reason anymore. It's redundant. So many Marvel characters are redundant. It's this character with a pink hat or this character with a red hat. It's like Malibu Stacy with a new hat. She's got a new hat. So there you go. All these race and gender swaps, just a new hat. Digi Akuma, thank you very much. I agree on statements regarding changes. I remember when Ben Reilly I agree on statements regarding changes. I remember the Ben Reilly character in Terry McGinnis and Batman Beyond. Things like this is like Disney Star Wars The Last Jedi. I want to like new characters. And Digikum also says, if they weren't mired in identity politics. I do too. I'm very open to new characters. Guardians of the Galaxy. My favorite Guardians story. We're walking into the movie. They're giving out these free little pins. I was like, I got the talking raccoon. I'm going to hate this character. I walk out. He was great. See, I'm ready to have my mind changed about any character. Prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong. Because I walk in, I have a good time, and I walk out happy, and I'm a new fan. Did I go out and pick up Rocket Raccoon merchandise? Not outside of that pin, but I do like the character. And people are like, well, he's not new. He's been around for whatever. He's new to me. There's so many great Marvel characters that, yes, you can make new ones too, but a lot of fans aren't tired of the great characters. I think a lot of studios present themselves with, or make problems for themselves that weren't real problems for any of us out there. So I can't think of anyone who hates, I'm trying to think of a great, like, not many people are going to rip on Wolverine or Iron Man or stuff like that. So, and Iron Man's the perfect example. If you have to have a different skin colored Iron Man, you have War Machine, who's awesome and interesting, but different. It's not the same thing over and over. It's not Tony trying to Rhodey get over X, Y, and Z. It's no, Rhodey's a Mills, X, Y, and Z. I keep saying that because I'm on a weird mental block. I've been writing a lot lately, so I haven't been speaking much today. Excuse me. But I want to like the new characters too, and that's why it worked back in the day. Terry McGinnis, from the minute I watched that show, I was invested. And it wasn't even an age thing or a political thing. It was just, he was cool. If you give me future whatever, I'll go, okay, if I like it, if I find it good, I'm willing to give it a shot. Chuck E. Cheese, thank you very much. He says, people cheer for heroes regardless of race. Cool is cool, and Marvel ain't shit. Woke clone bastards. I just like your phrase, Marvel ain't shit. I agree with that heavily. They ain't shit. They're also not good. It seems like low-hanging fruit, but it's kind of where they are right now. To me, they're an afterthought. Once everything starts to pick back up and we're not trying to make up, like, I love going to look for articles to talk about for videos because it just goes to show you how truly dry these people are for content. So, for example, there's an article, what happened to Will Smith's sci-fi movies? Or what was some of the other ones? Daredevil exposes Bullseye's painfully obvious weakness. Okay. Just random crap that they'll put out there. So, or the gay SpongeBob thing. Like, let me talk about that for a quick second. So, I don't know what happened. Apparently, we've switched months now because at the beginning of the month, we were on one social movement, and now this month, we're on to another social movement. It's like, hey, if you care about everybody, why don't you just stop giving them special months and just treat them great all year long? That way, everybody's life's better, and we don't have to, put any undue stress. But, oh yeah, I'm making you look at a really ugly screen. Sorry, folks. But the SpongeBob thing. This is one of those times where I'm like, okay, I always assumed SpongeBob might have been a gay character. It never was a big deal for me. I know a lot of people were up in arms on our Facebook group, and I'm just like, it's SpongeBob. And were you surprised? Have you watched the show? I don't think he really had a relationship with Sandy. Then again, I'm 31. SpongeBob was out when I was 11. I watched it for like a year, maybe two, and I haven't seen a new. And they still make it. I probably haven't seen a new SpongeBob episode in 15 years, and I probably haven't seen a single episode in at least 10. So when I saw stuff like this, I didn't really get too upset. But the reason I brought up this website is I just want to show you how dry things are. For example, like why Robert Pattinson's Batman might use a gun. Because he used it in an old issue of Batman. Was it Batman Year 2? Is that really what they're going for? Yeah, that's honestly what they're going for. So it just goes to show you how dumb a lot of this crap is. SpongeBob was asexual. I thought SpongeBob was stupid. I didn't care. Like, I just was like, what is this character? He is a dumb character. That's all I can say. And for those talking about best Marvel villains in the chat, I agree Doctor Doom's damn good. I like Magneto personally. Because the creator of SpongeBob said he was asexual. Now he's dead. Oh, I didn't realize that they actually stated that he was asexual. I just thought SpongeBob was weird, and I was like, okay, that's fine if they're gonna make whatever. I didn't realize that. Now I'm just like, well, if the creator says that, then it's a little different. That's all I can say. Miss Ninja Julian, excellent choices for your Spider-Man costumes, by the way. Now, I just don't know why, like you said in the chat, like, it's a kid's show. What are you talking about? I don't get it. Like, I don't know why that's important to a kid's show. Does it make the show richer for them? Is it one of those things where it's like, well, your favorite character's now gay, and you should like all gay people because SpongeBob's gay? It's like, I don't think it's the creators of, well, not even the creator. I don't think it's Nickelodeon's duty to like get kids to accept X, Y, and Z. I think that's parents and society and other places. And should you treat everybody equal? Yeah. What's wrong with, ELE? Everybody love everybody. I don't see the problem. Then again, I'm also not as terrible as they say I am on the internet. So yeah, I didn't think SpongeBob ever had, whatever, a relationship with Sandy. I don't know. The show sucked. Fuck it. If you like SpongeBob, cool. I thought it was okay for a little bit and then moved on to pretty much anything else. Probably more wrestling. 007 Cloud says, I want a Spawn game, especially in hell. Playing too much Doom at the moment. I don't play the new Doom because I don't have any consoles out here, but I've been playing the Doom that's on the Switch, and while it's graphically inferior, it's a lot of fun to just blow shit up. That being said, with a Spawn game, there have been multiple Spawn video games. The one on Super Nintendo is notoriously difficult. The ones on the other, I think it's on Game Boy, and I think the last one, is there a Spawn game on Game Boy Advance? I know the PlayStation one's considered pretty much trash. Obviously everybody can go out and choose their own, but I know the Super Nintendo one's kind of notorious. Oh, there's one from 2003. That's what it was. Okay. Spawn Eternal. There's a lot of Spawn video games out there. Me not being a Spawn fan, I'm not rushing out and I can't really give you guys like, hey, there's a Spawn game recommendation. But, they are out there, 007 Cloud. Makini90 says, saw Squadron trailer, and that final shot with both Squadrons and the sunset background with the John Williams score washing over you felt like legit Star Wars to me for the first time Star Wars feeling in the Disney era. I saw the trailer, and I wasn't excited because I didn't see any gameplay footage. It says footage rendered in-game engine or whatever, so it just means it'll look kind of like that, but I didn't get any feeling of what I'm supposed to be playing. I did notice how a lot of people, too, were like, oh, yay, another white female protagonist. And I'm like, well, that's the Disney ML. Of course, it can't be, Luke Skywalker. We got to see Wedge Antilles in the game, but we can't play, Luke's further adventures in an X-Wing, or we can't play these famous Star Wars characters. We have to create new ones for these EA games that aren't really, nobody gives a shit. The thing is, a lot of video game characters today don't have a lot of character. They just are hollow ciphers for the player to get into the world. And some games that doesn't work, some games that does. With a game like a Spider-Man, there's such a rich character that you're just kind of along for the ride and seeing their story. But sometimes a Grand Theft Auto character is kind of hollow, like a Claude Speed. So it's just more of your introduction into the world. With the Star Wars Squadron trailer, which we're going to talk more about that tomorrow on the High Council, folks. With the Star Wars Squadrons trailer, I didn't get any kind of feeling, just, more EA crap. And I'm not going in negative to be negative. I'm just going in with saying, if I've been burned by the last EA game that I looked at, which would have been Star Wars Battlefront 2, why am I supposed to all of a sudden get excited for the next one? Because Cal Kestis and the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, again, was another game I skipped only because of how bad the other one looked. And I played the first Battlefront and I didn't like it, so it's not like I'm making up excuses not to like something. But I just don't trust EA as a company. They've had countless times where they've been rated as the worst company to work for. They do really underhanded practices. They come in, they buy up a studio, they liquidate them, they use the IPs that the other studios have made, they bastardize them. They really don't do anything good. So therefore, I don't give them my money. They could be making the greatest Star Wars game. They could basically be redoing Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader. And I would be like, wow, that sounds like a great game. I don't trust it. Games like this, games like Spider-Man, I got to watch other people. I got to see other people review them because I don't trust critics. I don't trust the critics' score. I don't believe that it's going to be great until I see somebody that's not getting paid to play the game. That's how I felt about that, Makini90. Not to sound too overly negative, just being overly cautious. Because Star Wars is one of my favorite things in the world, and I just watched it get beat up constantly. So before I'm willing to throw $40 on this game, because it's a cheaper game for some reason, before I'm willing to throw $40 at something. Another thing, too, why is it $40? You're thinking, well, it's a value game. Yeah, value games usually mean they're older or they're lesser. So if this game is cheaper by $20, how small and how thin is the gameplay? Again, just because it's EA is the only reason I bring these questions up. Not because of Star Wars, because of EA. Excuse me. At 007 class says, what's missing about MCU Spider-Man is the man part. He's the Piper Perry of the MCU. Everyone calls him Iron Man Jr. People call him Spider-Boy, all this stuff. I mean, I don't think he's 4'9" and that little, but he's definitely not the man that we all know. Maybe one day he'll one day grow up in the MCU. More than likely what's going to happen is Tom Holland plays Spider-Man one more time. Whatever the amount of times on his contract is, he goes away to act in other stuff that nobody cares about because, see, everyone thinks he's like awesome. And everyone's like, I love him so much. When he's not Spider-Man and he's really not doing much, you'll forget about him. And I'm not saying you guys in the chat. I'm talking about society. Everyone was high on Andrew Garfield. He's so great. He's so talented. He was Spider-Man for a minute. He did Heartbreak Ridge. Nobody talks about Andrew Garfield much anymore. Same thing will happen with Tom Holland. Actually, people don't even talk about him that much outside of Spider-Man. Well, he should play Marty McFly in a Back to the Future reboot. Why? Because he's a small white guy with brown hair. Like, why? That movie has no purpose to exist. But anyway, I digress. Sorry. Just going on a rant tonight, folks. Nothing like last week's rant. Holy shit. Last week's rant, I was tired after that one. That's all I can say. After I ranted, I was just like, I need to rest. And they did. Who had the best statement? Somebody said EA was morally bankrupt. Now, Stompy Beer, the way that Rockstar treats their employees, I was reading, like I said, I'm working on this Last of Us video. And it's not about, I'm not talking about the leaks and going after the fans. I think that's bullshit, but that's also not what I was talking about. I'm more interested in the big picture with Naughty Dog. So I'm not going to spoil it anymore. Like I said at the beginning of the show with the stream, and while we're going to be putting more streams on their other channel and stopping here, is because, it's hurting us, and some of the stuff that we're talking about just isn't being seen or reaching anymore because of the, all the streams. But like I said, video this week, possibly tomorrow afternoon, might be Wednesday afternoon, depending on how in-depth I want to take this thing. But long story short. Anyway, moving on. Excuse me, got distracted. Salvador says, according to Hasbro's Instagram, they're going to officially announce Marvel Legends Fox Deadpool tomorrow. My guess is the rest of the Fox X-Men. My aching wallet. Now, Sal, my wallet won't ache necessarily for the remaining Fox X-Men because I don't want to buy Halle Berry as Storm, and I don't want to buy James Marsden as Cyclops. Even though I like James Marsden as Cyclops, I don't really love their suits. That's what it really boils down to me is the X-Men on film lack their costumes, which lack personality, and the characters themselves lack personality. Modern day film thinks that stoicism equals heroicism. That's not really the case, especially with something like a Captain Marvel. Just because she's a stoic cardboard cutout of a character doesn't make her good, doesn't make her stand up. We've watched Iron Man cry. And that's supposed to be, in society, a guy crying, what are you, a sissy? You watch Spider-Man cry, it's funny because Tobey Maguire can't act it properly. But you see Iron Man cry, you saw Captain America dejected, you saw these characters have emotions. I don't get that with a lot of these characters. So that's why I'm not really in a rush to buy them. The Ian McKellen head didn't really fit the Michael Fassbender body for the action figure. So if they do that, cool. I mean, I want everyone to get what they want. I really don't even know what I want out of Marvel Legends anymore. I think I'm pretty much at the end of my collecting run. Maybe they can re-release the Red Daredevil with the traditional suit, the one that came out a couple years ago, and maybe give us a regular Rhino or something like that. Like I said, I'm almost at the end of my rope. I've got all the characters I want, and until they touch the Fantastic Four the right way again, I'm not going to deal with it. But Sal, tomorrow you and I are going to be talking back and forth about what they released. So if you see any images, just shoot me a message and I'll, we'll talk back and forth about it. Now, see, it depends on what you consider by getting Spider-Man right, because what are you looking for out of a Spider-Man film? I'd say Spider-Man 2 got it right. I'd say Spider-Man 1 gets it mostly right. 3 No. Well, the thing is, 3, there's an argument to be made that Spider-Man 3 gets the character Peter Parker right when he's introduced to a rogue element, and that he's so inherently cheesy that he can't do it right. There's also an argument to be had that the movie sucks, and I'm making that argument too. But the 90s cartoon was a good representation of college-age Spider-Man. There's a lot wrong with the show, but it comes from a behind-the-scenes production element, not so much the actual... I'm trying to think of the right word to say it. The creators had the ability to do more, but the censors really held them back, and therefore the show's lesser, in my opinion, because it can't explore things the way other shows, especially X-Men or even Batman, could do at the time. So, thank you. Digi Akuma says, not trusting critic score is right. I mean, take a look at The Last of Us 2's hundreds. Believe me, that is, like I said, that is the video that I'm working on. I'm getting into it, but I want to do it properly. So it takes a little time to get all the things, or the research. But that is our next topic. That game is important, not because it's going to sell 1 million copies or do X, Y, and Z. It's important because all of these games and this type of marketing, it sets a precedent. We keep moving back to that, and people think it works because short-term you get these results, but long-term it doesn't. Look at all the bad will from Star Wars, and then look at the downward decline since The Last Jedi. Same thing goes with whatchamacallit. Video games too. You'll have one game come out, they'll promote it one way. They'll go anytime they bring out the progressiveness to promote something, it never works out because it'll start out here and then it'll slowly decline. The Last of Us 2 will make money. It will sell a lot of copies in the beginning of its life cycle, and then it won't because a lot of people that review the game are high on the politics and they're low on gameplay elements and other important qualities that the game should have. So, like I said, just come back later in the week for that, and just make sure you guys are always checking out your subscription boxes. Like I said, YouTube makes weird changes. June's always been a shit month for us, so it kind of sucks because it's like, hey, check out this video, and it's not reaching a lot of people. So just be on the lookout for that. Dirk is correct. Spider-Man in the 90s couldn't even throw a punch. That's the level of censorship the game faced. So, I like this too. 2000 superhero films had a bright ending. Current superhero films feel nihilistic. I like that it was Infinity War that had a dark ending. I got it. I thought it was cool. But overall, a lot of these Marvel movies do have kind of a weird tone. Like when you watch the end of Spider-Man, all is well, he wins the day type of thing. You watch the first X-Men, they win. It looks like they'll get acceptance, or at least some acceptance from society, and the government will kind of ease their stance on hunting mutants. Like it was, there was that approach. I think DC stuff has a lot of nihilistic endings to it. People say, well, you want it for a Batman. I don't know if you want that for a Batman, though. In my opinion, the two greatest Batman films, and today is the anniversary of one that we'll talk about towards the end of the show, are Batman 89 and Batman Begins. And to me, those have the most epic Batman endings. People say, well, what about The Dark Knight? Yeah, well, what about The Dark Knight? The Dark Knight ending is fine. He sacrifices himself, takes the fall, and rides off. And that's it. I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people that definitely enjoys, Batman looking up to the bat signal as the epic music hits and that bell, and Batman will return one day to fight whatever villain, and it gets you pumped. When you left the first two Spider-Man flicks, when he's swinging around and with the big Danny Elfman score playing behind him, you're like, all right, cool, what's next? And you left the theater pumped. Now you kind of leave the theater, I don't know, not for me personally, you don't leave it as pumped. You don't leave it with the same level of excitement because we kind of know what's next. They've definitely set it up to where, this hero will go on this journey in this film at this date. And that's awesome, and that's cool to some degree, but also that level of unknowing and that level of excitement has been wiped out. And I miss that. Sometimes I sound like the old man, get off my lawn type of thing. But things have changed, and not always for the better. Some things are, way better than they used to be. Some things are way worse. And when it comes to artistic stuff, it bothers me. Like, yes, movie making technology has advanced, which is awesome. I'm very happy that you can do what you do on film. But just because that is advanced doesn't mean storytelling should take a back seat, because the elements that you need to tell a good story have existed for decades. George Lucas used a pen and a paper to create Star Wars, and it's Star Wars. I don't even need to go any further than that. All the classic Marvel comics were written on a typewriter. So the technology to print the books and to color separate and all that stuff definitely has evolved and gotten better. But we don't get classic stories, and the same thing goes with film. You can CGI off a mustache poorly. You can make whole new worlds. You can create things that we've never seen or even thought about on film. But you can't give me a good role model. You can't give me a strong woman. You can't give me a strong man. You can't give me anything. You can't give me any of that shit. It's all got to be an adaptation of something. And now you can't even give me an adaptation of something without politics. So it's just weird how we've regressed. I don't like that. And, I see people in the chat saying WandaVision looks like, whatchamacallit, hot garbage. I haven't really seen too much about WandaVision. All I know is that I'm probably not going to stick around long enough to watch it. So let's see. Who else do we have? Our friend Wheezy Bird says, if you need a show on Netflix to watch, get on. What do you mean? You say get One Piece? Because it says get on Piece. I bet the character Zoro will be one of your favorites. You'll be super hooked by episode 23. One Piece, I'll take a note for One Piece. It's funny you say you'll be hooked by episode 23. I usually have this rule. It's like I will give it 3 episodes. And you're like, oh, wait till episode 23. And you'll be like, wow, that's a lot of episodes. But look at Parks and Rec. I was like, I'm going to watch this episode with Jesse. Oh, yeah, one more is cool. And before you know it, we're on the final season at the halfway point, and I'm like, I'm so into the show. And it's nice to have something that you're so excited over. Wonder, I'm going to read. Sorry, actually, I had jumped to 2 super chats. Excuse me. First off, Wonder. I'll go right back. Here's the Wonder. But to finish, Wheezy Birds. I want to watch stuff that I enjoy. I want to find some good stuff. Maybe sometimes I need a little time commitment. But if it's awesome, and you said it's on Netflix, I'm willing to give it a shot. Wander says, saw a tweet saying Tom Holland should play Tails in the Sonic 2 movie, and I think that's a terrible idea. So do I. Also, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Loki and the Giant Snake. Thoughts? Jesse and I did watch it. I really don't know what to say. We were kind of buzzed, but we did put it on. Like I said, I know I've seen the episode. I can't give you specifics off the top of my head. I can tell you that I thought the show was great. I still think it's great. I mean, even at the beginning of the show, I talked about how awesome it is. And I should just rewatch it again since you've asked me like probably 3 times. No, I'll put the damn thing on right now. Hold on. It's the Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It's the final episode of season 1, you said. So we'll go back and I'll look at that because I like the show. I don't have anything bad to say. Even that show, which is not necessarily the fastest build to a show, has a really fantastic. It plays it off. It works well. So there we go. Loki, they're out in the snow. There we go. I don't want to lie to you and say, oh, I watched it and be like, and remembered everything. No, we looked at the show, kind of buzzed. So there, I'm putting it on in the background again. And by the time this show ends, I have subtitles on too. We'll be able to talk about it fully. But Wander, thank you for your patience. Like I said, sorry that I was like, oh, I'll do it, and I keep forgetting type of thing. And Wheezy says, One Piece. I made a mistake on my other donation. First off, Wheezy Bird, thank you very much. I definitely we got through it. Don't worry, man. Very worst case scenario, I kind of butcher it, and then I go back and reread it. So you were, it's cool. But I appreciate both messages greatly. Let's see. Greg Patakis is my favorite Parks and Rec episode. That was a very good one. I got a huge chuckle at the end when you see him go back into the Parks and Rec department and see how he actually did everything. So let's see. I know Berserk, Stompy Beardo. I definitely know Berserk. I've seen some of those clips on Facebook. And you're thinking, why would you watch them on Facebook? Because I'm in all these anime groups, and it's like, yay, anime of the 70s, 80s, and 90s or whatever. And I saw some really, like where the guy like cut his own arm off or something because the thing kept, whatever. It was gross, but it was gory and fun. What I really need to do is I need to sit down and just have like an anime recommendation stream, and people can come on the show, and for 5 minutes each, you can pitch me your favorite anime and why I should watch it, and then I'll watch it and get back with you at a later date. I think it would be a lot of fun. So I can't think of a negative thing that comes from that at all. Let's see, just reading the chat. Sorry, folks. Oh yeah, what did I? So earlier, we're living in Berserk World right now. We're living in 1984 is what we're living in. On our last John Boyega Star Wars race video, which you guys should check out. It's a personal favorite of mine. Is it the greatest thing we ever made? I don't know. Maybe to some people it will be, but I know that I'm very happy with it. And I think it's something people should check out, because the whole point of it is, if Disney believed what they believed last week all the time, they wouldn't treat their characters the way they do, because their characters, their creations are a representation of their attitude or the time they're created in. So if just a few short months ago, the attitude towards John Boyega and Finn was, he's a one-off character, he's a joke, we don't care about him, X, Y, and Z. Again, I did it, I'm sorry. That would be fine. But to come out and tell us he's your hero, yet when he worked for you, you treated him a certain way, I just, I don't buy into it. 007 Cloud, thank you very much. He says, you get to watch Berserk with Jesse, bro. That's my recommendation, LOL. 007 Cloud, I will. Jesse's not an anime fan, but she will watch, because sometimes on the weekends what we'll do is, if we don't have work to do, we'll sit down and be like, I'm going to pick something, you pick something, and the other one doesn't complain. We just kind of go with it. So yesterday we watched In Bruges, and I thought the movie was going to be way better than it was. Was it terrible? No. Was it funny? At times. I don't know. I wanted more out of it. If I would have saw that movie when it first came out, I probably would have thought it was the greatest thing ever, because that was back when I thought Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead and all these other, I was watching these British shows, and I was like, oh, it's so cool. But I've kind of mellowed out, and like I go case by case now. I don't just jump into like, I like this, and therefore everything from that is going to be awesome, and everybody should check it out. So I finally saw it 12 years later, and I'm glad I watched it, but I wasn't that impressed. So she'll sit down though, and she would definitely watch Berserker, because it's weird. It's a recommendation from the fans type of thing. So that'll be fun when we get to it. Digiakuma also says, I used to like the new Berserk anime, but those guys use CGI way too much. The Golden Age movies had a good balance, and I like them, but the TV series overused the CG animation, and it's distracting. I don't like when animation, like hand-drawn animation and CGI blend as poorly as they do. For example, Family Guy. Family Guy's CGI is so obvious, especially like I'm watching the Avengers right now. The boat on the Rainbow Bridge of Asgard is definitely CGI, and the other parts of the show are more traditionally animated. For me, Digiakuma, the problem lies with that it doesn't blend well. It doesn't look like everything else. It's very glaring. It's like when you watch the Star Wars special editions, especially the 97 edits, where Jabba the Hutt and Han Solo meet up. They just don't. We know they don't exist in the same plane, so therefore there's that disconnect. And it goes with animation too. People are like, well, it's all animated, it's all fake, it's just different types of animation. Yeah, but it doesn't blend. It's supposed to be one unified thing. That's like when they re-released Avengers Endgame last year, and the CGI wasn't finished, and it was strictly to beat Avatar at the box office. First off, okay, fine, I get that you want to be the biggest movie ever, and it looks cooler on posters, but again, it just doesn't blend. So when Marvel puts out a movie, they should always make sure that the CGI blends. It's just a type of thing that they always do. You want to create this whole world. So animation, it just is very obvious to me. Now, there are some that do it better. There are also some times where computers help aid in a weird hand-drawn style. I think Lupin III, the one called Fujiko Mine, has some interesting artistic choices, and I believe some of those were created with the help of a computer, and it looked cool. But especially earlier integration, it's always when the technology is early, and they like The Last Starfighter. I respect that movie. I don't really love it, but it doesn't age well in terms of the effects. It just doesn't. It never matched. I can't imagine being back in 1982 when that movie came out and thinking to myself, man, this looks so real. Look at that. It always just looked off. It's kind of like when I would watch Batman Forever, and the scene where Batman jumps off of the building or jumps out of the building right after the Riddler and Two-Face had attacked the Nigma Tech party or whatever. Like that shot of Batman always looked kind of hokey. Or the end of Spider-Man 2, like you could tell it wasn't real, and it stuck out. That's all I can say. It stuck out to me, and it bothered me. Now, Monkey Jeebus, I don't know if I agree. All effects were garbage in the 80s. We used our imagination to fill in the gaps and suspend belief. I don't think all effects, though, in the 80s were garbage. I look at something like Indiana Jones and some of the in-camera tricks used. You can call that a special effect, if you will. I think that stuff looks really great. Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi had a lot of great special effects that we overlook because of the abundance of CGI elsewhere. But if you go back and you look at the original cuts, so let's just use Return of the Jedi for an example. The speeder bike chase looked great back then. All the outer space stuff looks great still to this day. I think it's very film dependent. And plus, it also goes like, what do you use to define special effects? Some of the classic work on The Thing, that is, The Thing 1982 is one of the greatest achievements in special effects ever, still to this day. Find me something that has a more visceral, a more guttural, just when you watch The Thing eat those people, you feel it. Every bite, every laceration, every attack with a tentacle or fire, it just is a very gritty, you're there with MacReady and the boys type of feel. Straight up. So I agree there are some movies that don't age well. I don't think E.T. looks particularly great, the character design, but that's a different thing. But I cannot stand by that statement about all effects in the 80s were garbage. Flat out, The Thing, maybe the best special effects of all time. And you're thinking, how can you say of all time? Because it doesn't age. Because it was done in camera, because it looked so real, it still looks great. And Star Wars has some great shots. Even the 1977 cut of Star Wars has some really great shots that still haven't been mimicked. So it's just dependent upon the film, Monkey Jeebus. 007 Cloud says, watch all 25 episodes of Berserk on YouTube. Dub is good too. If I'm going to watch anime... Oh, sorry about the noise. Lando, stop. If I'm going to watch any kind of anime, it's going to be all dubbed because sometimes I look elsewhere, do other things, and subtitles are usually a hard sell for other people. So, by the way, Wanderer, I'm at the part of the episode where Loki just blew into a giant horn. He's got Thor captured in the gallows, and I believe Loki's turning into the giant snake right now. So, wait, no, that is a giant wolf creature they're fighting. Hold on. That's still pretty damn cool. See, that's the thing I did love about Thor Ragnarok. That final battle in Asgard is pretty damn cool. I didn't like how Thor lost his eye and stuff, but realistically, am I going to bitch about a movie because Thor lost his eye? No, they rectified it quickly in Avengers Endgame, or Infinity War, excuse me. Yeah, Amy Chesner says Aliens effects were great. Terminator's effects were great, says Cobra Kai student. I will say some of the effects in Aliens don't hold up as well as some of the effects in Alien and other films prior to that. And the only reason I say that is because Aliens has an abundance of blue screen, like front screen projection or whatever. And some of it just doesn't, in my opinion, does not look good. A lot of this, especially at the end when she's trying to get on the drop ship to leave the planet that the Queen so happens to be on, there's just a couple of shots. I was like, it doesn't really hold up well. And some of the model work feels lesser, especially when it's in atmosphere, like when they're flying down to land on LV-243 or whatever, or 426. That's the planet from the first movie. Whatever the planet they land on in Aliens. But then again, that's just me armchair critiquing it. Does it make it a lesser film? No, it's a kick-ass film. All the puppetry of the aliens, that's still great to this day. But there are a couple things. I think sometimes, for me at least, and I know other people feel the same way, like you'll get this really great movie and it's like 80% perfect, but then you look at little imperfections and you kind of look at those. With a film like Aliens that I enjoy but don't love in the terms of like, it's a film I like and respect, and I've watched it a lot, but I don't own it on countless formats, and I'm not buying Aliens figures and stuff like that. It's just a movie to me, a very good movie, but it lives in the same category as like the first Terminator, where it's a very good movie. I will buy it, but if I'm going to buy Terminator merchandise, it's coming from T2 type of thing. So, But yeah, LV426. All right, thank you, Amy. Clearly, you're an Aliens fan, so you and my friend Joel would have a fun conversation because that is Joel's absolute favorite movie of all time. Oh, go big boy, go home. Says by the way, Sean Firefart, I got your text. I just got it right before I was going on air. I will respond a little bit later tonight, buddy, but I will respond to you because I know you have a serious question. Tremors. I do love Tremors. Those are fun movies. Blade Runner is another film that has great special effects. Again, I never really talk much about Blade Runner because it's not my favorite movie. Sean Firefart knows what's up. It's like I said, I recognize its greatness and its importance and what it brings to the table, but it's just not for me, and it never will be because I don't like the themes of what does it mean to be human from a robot's standpoint. Twilight Zone did it, other things still do it, and it's just a story plot that anybody can do. I could even write my own story about it, and I wouldn't like it. So, the Blob effects, just Joe 47. Holy shit, the Blob special effects might be the best of the decade after The Thing. Those effects, holy crap, that's all I can say. So we're getting ready to, we're slowing down on today's show, but like I said, folks, at the beginning, I love doing the stream. I love interacting with the fans. I love talking to people, all this stuff, but full transparency, doing these shows every day, it kills the channel. I mean, back when we were doing Good Morning Pop Culture every day for 4 months straight, we had 70,000 subscribers when we began and 74 when we ended the year. And we had seen leaps and bounds bigger than that. But once we stopped, we kind of went back to picking up the channel, and now here's where we are. But because of the virus and the way things are going, we tried to, replace the late night shows and do all of that stuff. And I want to keep doing that because I enjoy what we do. But I got to put it on our secondary channel because it is hurting us. I mean, we had seen a big upgrowth, and then we've seen a bunch. We're just, it's bleeding it strictly because of the algorithm. It's not people complaining. It's, whatever. They don't put the videos in front. We've been there before, and it's just we fell into the cycle. So we're going to have to change that. But we do have the GMPC Good Morning Pop Culture channel, which is the name. Our friend Cesario Japan has been posting the link in the chat all night long. I'll start putting that link in the description of the videos, of all the stuff, so you guys can catch it. But, yeah, I just wanted to give you guys full transparency about all this stuff because I don't want people to think, we're going away or, we're done. Because, no, we got all kinds of cool stuff. Last week, I showed the Woke Busters trailer on the podcast, which I guess I should show tonight. We're doing all the stuff. We've been... our first interview segment with our friend Russell from Lucasfilm was actually successful to a point where I have other people that are looking to get invested or involved in those kind of things. So I just working out on all kinds of really cool stuff and want to be able to do all of it and reach as many people as possible and not really have to take this away this time because, like I said, it's a very nice, relaxing time. It's a stream where hundreds and hundreds of people come to listen to me talk for 90 minutes at a time about shit I love and we're all passionate about. And like I said, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I just got to find a way to balance it so we can all get what we want. And so I will archive the old ones too. Let's see. What about Tron 1982? Are you talking about the effects? I like the effects of Tron. They're weird and otherworldly and very electronic. Tron's a movie that I didn't grow up with, but I like. I like Tron Legacy quite a bit. That's one of those, what's your unpopular opinion on a movie? I like Tron Legacy. I thought it was a good movie. It's very basic, but it is what it is. A lot of great movies are very basic. I don't see why Avatar gets constant praise and Tron Legacy gets shit on. Tron Legacy is in no way lesser than Avatar. Yes, the effects of Avatar were great. So were Tron Legacies. It was a Disney movie, and I'm not even here to kiss Disney's ass, but they do bring a certain level when they're going to, CGI something. And Tron Legacy had better music. It just didn't have the 3D, and it didn't have the James Cameron name behind it. It was a 20. How many years passed? It was a 27-year-old film, or excuse me, it was a 27-year-old sequel. It had maybe passed its expiration date, and a lot of people just, wrote it off. Maybe for nostalgia's sake, but I will stand by my statement. Tron Legacy is as good, if not as better than Avatar, hands down. In every way, I prefer it. So, let's see. By the way, we also have, I wanted to tell you guys, we found out about Star Wars Celebration, and it's been officially canceled. So I know a lot of people were wanting to do Fandom Menace meetup and hang out and all that fun stuff, and we do too. We definitely want to meet everybody and hang out, but it's going to look like it's going to have to be next year, and we're trying to do our own Fandom Menace meetup because a lot of people are like, why would you give Disney money? A lot of people don't go. See, the thing is, we're not trying to go to Celebration as a community. It's a big event that a lot of people will travel to, but they can justify, coming out to hang out with us type of thing. So like for Celebration, we had hundreds of people, like about 100 people plus come to the meetup. It was a big turnout. And then we had met people every day and we're doing all this great stuff. And now all of our channels are, where they are, even bigger. And we want to do more. It was only basically Star Wars Celebration was like an event that people would be at to come meet us. But, if it's meant to be that we do it elsewhere, then we will. We'll do it another way. And that's fine. And I just wanted to, yes, Anna suggested doing it to Star Trek Vegas in December. Well, thing is about that, Sci-Fi for Me TV, I was going to talk about that next. Jessie is having her 30th birthday in Vegas, and she's trying to schedule it around the Star Trek Las Vegas convention because she wants to have a huge turnout for like a big Fandom Menace meetup. It's not like a birthday party. It's a Fandom Menace meetup at a bar and all this other fun stuff. So she's trying to schedule that and figure it out and all that fun stuff. But it's a public thing she's trying to do. It's not like we're all trying to get together, just the creators, and not hang out with the fans. It's, hey, everybody, meet us at this bar and we'll all get together and we'll hang out, we'll shoot the shit, and we'll have a great time type of thing. So that's a great idea, Sci-Fi for Me TV, and that's something that we're all trying to do now. Because, a good chunk of the Fandom Menace channels are, like the bigger ones are out here, so that helps. I'm going to see Anna on Wednesday. So she's cool. That'll be fun. But I just be on the lookout for all that stuff. The reason Star Wars Celebration was canceled after Jeff and Dion rewired J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy shipped coordinates to fly into a black hole. Yes, they died on the way to their home planet. The first Tron definitely had a better story. I'm not here to try to convince everyone that, Tron 1 is inferior to Legacy, but I do think Legacy beats Avatar every way. Visuals, story. I hate Avatar with a passion. It's the film I can't understand why it's successful. So that's all I can say. And for Knaves in Vegas, well, then we should find a time to get together. We did the last Star Trek meetup. And by we, I meant Jesse, myself, Tom, Mecca, Tom and Rob from Midnight's Edge, Mecca Random 42, Gary from Nerdrotic. All of us were out there at the bar. What was it called? The Millennium Bar or something like that. It was a good time. It was actually a great time, actually. So just come out to one of those. Even if you're of age and you don't drink, no one's going to force you to drink. Just come out and have a Cardassian Sunrise or whatever the hell that drink is from Star Trek. It's not real, so you can't get drunk from it. But just come out and hang out. It'll be a fun time. We actually, Chuck E. Cheese, the bar we went to was not on the strip. It was off the strip. So, Stompy Beardo, you're very welcome. Our friend Matt Deckard, what's up? He says, are you ready for them to fix the chameleon circuit on the TARDIS so it's no longer a police box? I would be pissed if they do that. Are they actually doing it? Because I don't follow the Doctor Who news because I just don't. I can't anymore. I mean, David, they always say your first introduction to something is your favorite. I think that might be true. Well, no, that's not true for Doctor Who because I saw the Eccleston episodes first, and I thought they were fun, and I could go back and watch this any day of the week. But Tennant is my Doctor. I like Matt Smith. And when Matt Smith left, shit pancake. Sorry, I got a cat loose in the apartment. Jesse's gone with two of the other cats, and the other one of them's sleeping because he's tired, and the other one's knocking shit over because he's an asshole, but I love him. If they do change the TARDIS and it's no longer a police box, what's the point? See, it's not about, being old and stodgy, but there are certain iconographic things about our favorite pieces of entertainment that you don't change. It's like if George Lucas made Darth Vader's helmet pink in Return of the Jedi. Why? Because I can. No purpose. Just like changing the TARDIS. It's been a police box since its inception in 1962? Is that when Doctor Who first debuted on the BBC? It's a staple of the brand. It's a staple of the show. If you can give me a legitimate reason why the TARDIS should change, talk to me. And I'll tell you why I think you're wrong. There's just no purpose for any of this. So Doctor Who is a show that I wish Disney, or not Disney, I'm sorry, I'm projecting here, is a show I just wish would go away. Not because I hate Doctor Who, but because I care about it, and there's no reason to. It's like Bond. I want James Bond to end permanently because the climate we live in, you cannot have a successful and good James Bond film. You're going to have all these weirdos with the identity politics. Bond's got to be a woman. Bond's got to be a person of color. Bond ain't got to be shit. James Bond's got to be the one thing he's got to be. James Bond. And, I take that back. He's got to be one thing. Successful. All these ideas and ideals aren't going to make Bond successful. They don't make Doctor Who successful. Why do we cover Doctor Who in the Fandom Menace? What do we talk about when we talk about Picard and Star Trek Discovery? The constant decline in viewership. We're not sitting here going about how successful these things are or how great they are, but because they're shit, they're not successful. Doctor Who was really, really like monumentally popular right at the late first decade of the thousands. And then you get to the Matt Smith stuff and it gets even bigger. I mean, I saw the damn Doctor with the cowboy hat everywhere. Or the Doctor who, what are the people with the long fingers? Not the Ood, but the other ones. And like that whole arc in the beginning was so popular. And Amy Pond, and you had all the people dress up. And the TARDIS, Matt Deckard, if they get rid of the TARDIS, what are the girls at the cons? They wear those TARDIS dresses. The thing is, the TARDIS is such a iconic, marketable, merchandisable thing that everybody loves that no one wants to go away. It's like when you change the radar dish on the Millennium Falcon for no reason. Hey, but you changed it right back when people were fed up with your bullshit. Anyway, that's another tangent. I apologize, but by the way, I'm putting on Tron since everyone keeps praising the original Tron. I just turned it on, so I'm going to watch Tron tonight, and I'm going to work on this video. It's going to be a fun show. Now, Chuck E. Cheese, I did hear about Dave Chappelle's comment. His was it 8 minutes and 42 seconds or whatever the hell the special's called, 8 minutes 27 seconds. Point is, I actually read part of a transcript from that this morning when I was working on the video. Dave Chappelle's the guy that has his shit together. Remember last year, everyone was all up on beating up on Dave Chappelle. But Dave Chappelle was the voice of reason and kind of always has been. And so I respect Dave Chappelle's work. I think he's a great stand-up comedian. And I think his show is the best sketch show of all time. I will fight that fight and we'll have that debate, and it's fun. That's something I've always wanted to bring to the High Council is a weekly debate segment because I like arguing. I like fighting about differences and fighting about the shit we all love. 1 week it'll be like, Tom and Mecca versus me and our guest. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure versus Bogus Journey or something like that. If you like that idea, let me know. Because I think it would make for a fun, engaging show. Plus, everyone can chime in and have their voices heard. Let's see. Matt Deckard says, Tron soundtrack took many years to be released. Let's cocktail in LA sometime. Definitely. As soon as everything kind of cools down, put it like this. If you're a listener out there that I've said, hey, I'm in LA, we should all hang out together, post mid-July would be a time where we can start working stuff out. I feel like a lot of things will have cooled down. Plus, I'll be back in town from my my travels, aka my trip back to Ohio to visit my mom for her birthday. Because I was going to go back for Horror Hound. That got canceled. My original plan was Horror Hound, WrestleMania, be home for about 3 weeks, spend some family time, and then come back out here. But coronavirus, everything got kind of fucky. And you know what? It worked out the way it was meant to work out. I've had a fantastic time out here getting to do what I do. But definitely, Matt, you know how to follow me on social media, Instagram, anything like that. Shoot us an email, worldclassbs@mail.com, thebestmail.com. And, just do that. Now, I wanted to, I'm going to end today's show with something fun. If you saw this week's podcast, you've seen this. If you haven't, then it's new to you, and I'm excited to share it with you. But it was nice last week because I've been talking about getting everything fixed with the comic. We had the printing press error, and I had to get a new company and take care of business. But guess what? I took care of it. Everything's been better. And a ton of people have been really interested in the books that we're doing. So it was exciting to hear that. And because of last week, I was so angry with the Gone with the Wind stuff and all these alterations and edits that they want to make the films. I said, screw it. You know what? I now know what I have to do with all of this shit, with the comic, with all the entertainment. We need to make it funny. We need to go in the direction that we want to go in. So without further ado, check this out. So yes, folks, it's going to be official here on the channel. We're going to do our Woke Busters comic. If you've heard us on the podcast talk about it in passing as a joke, you're like, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. That's what you guys are going to do. But I've decided to sit down and just make it happen. Like I said, I've seen a lot of positive feedback from the stuff we've created. People want more. People also want to be able to laugh at the situation that we're living in. Nobody wants to look back and realize the dread. We look back and we laugh at how stupid things were, and we chuckle, and that's how we get through it. And, that's how we can get through it when it's currently rough. So given ample notice to you guys and ample time for myself to get everything completed, and thankfully, now that, I had the experience that I had with the first book, I know how everything works. I know how the production goes. I know how to do it, and I know where to go to get it done and how to do it at the same level as Marvel and DC and all that stuff in terms of the actual physical production. So hopefully you guys check that out. I'll give you guys plenty of time. We're still doing the cards, but I'm really excited to talk about Woke Busters and make it a thing at the end of this year. So our catchphrase isn't who you're going to call, it's who you're going to cancel. So be prepared for that, guys. And you guys will be able to get that. It'll be a book. It'll be a nice big graphic novel like the last one. So for those waiting on your new replacement Stealing Solo because the last place fucked up so royally, I told you guys you're going to get a 44-page comic. You got an 88-page graphic novel coming your way this time. So be on the lookout for that, folks. We'll be mailing out the first 500 relatively soon. So I'm going to head out. It's been about 90 minutes. It's been a fun show. I want you guys to come back tomorrow night for the High Council. It will be a great time had by all. We've got a lot of stuff. And like I said, not until around the 4th of July will we be making the switch. And every live stream and every time I'm live, I'll tell you guys about the link to the new channel so we can archive the streams and do it because, we're doing all the stuff that we do. But thanks to YouTube's algorithm changes, it's kind of screwing us over. So we'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow with the High Council. But until next time, folks, always be excellent to each other.